I really thought when I saw my name would be the last name, I thought, great, no one's going to be there. I'm going to go find this empty, go have a drink, and then it's over. So I don't know what you're all doing here. Thank you so much for staying. It's fantastic. I'm going to take you through a little bit about the Middle East and how we've gone through doing satire there. It's like, as you know, in the Middle East, has a very awful political situation, and with an awful political situation comes an awful media ecosystem. So the way when something happens in the Middle East, it's like anything goes bad. So, for example, Saudi media would end up blaming Iran, and with that, all of Shia Muslims in the world. If something happens in Syria, Muslim extremists are to blame. Whatever happens anywhere, the media is ready to blame someone else, another religion, or another sect, or homosexuality, or America, America does take its own fair of blame for a lot of stuff, but not everything. So we thought the way the governments are set up, they are literally too powerful to fight, but what we can actually fight is the media. So the media in the region is sort of divided into three types. There's the government or politically funded media, massive organizations that are run very efficiently. They say exactly what needs to be told by the government as the truth to everyone. The second one is the local websites and organizations, and these guys, they basically take anything on the internet, they copy it and paste it on their website, whether it was from the government websites or from each other or from satire as real news, like anything they find, and then they throw in an app, clickbait headline on it, and it goes online. And then finally, we have the independent websites, our independent media. There's usually about an average of one per country. They're doing great stuff, but a lot of them are even banned in their own country of operation, and they're preaching to the converted. So it's kind of a different situation. So when we wanted to talk about issues, we were active in 2011 and after that, and we wanted to talk about stuff. There were very few outlets that would let us do what we wanted to do. If we wanted to, we would reach a tiny amount of people, and we would do it in an echo chamber. So what we needed was a platform, large reach, and to reach a diverse group of people. So starting a platform is the easiest way to do it. It's much easier than trying to change something else that already exists. So you buy a website, you're online with $100. With reach, that gets more difficult, because it's like if you're publishing on these independent media websites, you're pretty much like the person who's felling the tree in the empty forest. It's basically as good as it never happened. So if we wanted to actually reach people, we knew that we needed to be funny and clever and writing powerful content which can get across some complicated arguments, while at the same time balancing the effect that it's doing on the people and the impact with the impact on the government, so that they wouldn't lose the shit. So that can be also quite easily done. You need a good team, you need a strong editorial policy, you read, you study what other people have done, you practice, you challenge your team on a daily basis, and then basically that's standard stuff for building any successful company. That's how we saw that. It's just that breaking out of the fucking echo chamber that we're all fucking talking about that we needed to do. With satire, in some areas it could be more easy, but not always, because satire is in its own chamber, because satire in its core is sort of a liberal left-leaning thing, because it is there to challenge the status quo, and conservatives are there to preserve that. So in a region that the majority of it is conservative, you will need. How can you do that without alienating the majority of a population? This is where it really got interesting for us. We needed to open conversations with people with what we were doing. So on a normal day, we'd be contacted by hundreds of people. We're a tiny team. we couldn't respond to everyone. So we thought we could build a chatbot. So people normally get in touch with us for a few reasons. One reason would be to contribute content on our website, and that's easy. They go in, we take them through the channel, it gets sent to the editors, and that's it. The rest are divided into two parts. There are the people who like our work and want to tell us that, fantastic, we give them the chance to do that. And then there are the hordes of people who are angry. So, how do people normally express their anger? They either call us liars, they swear at us, and we left that option of sending us death threats through the chatbot. If someone wanted to swear at us, what we did was ask them what sort of an insult they wanted to send to us. Is it above the belt or below the belt? So that we take them by the hand, slowly, until we take them so that we could open a proper conversation with them. And in that meanwhile, we asked them, what sort of insult do you want to, what sort of above the belt, what sort of above the belt insult do you want to send to us? And in that process, we actually get to hear what they have to say, and we tell them what we do and why it matters. So from there, the next step was to, from taking it to a conversation, to getting actual contributions from them so that we could have a very diverse set of opinions and thoughts on the website. So we did a call for writers, and we said it's like whether you're a Muslim or a lesbian, an atheist or a pastafarian or even vegetarian. If you have something that is worth saying, we will help you articulate that and publish it on our website. Within less than a year, over 3,000 people joined from over 40 countries. The group was truly diverse. There were women, there were refugees, there were gay people, there were journalists, there were students, diaspora, activists. Politically, they were completely also from all around the spectrum. Some of them are pro-Assad, some of them are anti-Erdogan, some of them are with their regime, some of them are against it. And when they're all just trying to articulate what their thoughts are, and we're helping them to build that into a satirical argument that they can get across. Because we're not there to say what we want to say, we want to hear people's thoughts. But one of the most interesting things that happened is that a Salafi actually joined the conversation. And the Salafism is one of the most strict forms of Islam, which is basically the one that Saudi was built on. And he just went in there and was slamming right and left on all sorts of issues, from politics and society to critical religious leaders. He just hit on everything. And then we saw it from his point of view. He was seeing satire as a tool, not just about irreverence and making fun, but it's about being able to laugh at yourself. It's about able to see your own mistakes. It's about accepting criticism and accepting others. And it's about taking things just a little bit less seriously than we normally do, so that we can actually, and that's how you could hear other people. Finally, I want to tell you about the last thing that we were doing against the media, which was a couple of years ago we launched our Hudood Award for Worst Arab Journalism, which it was broken to a few categories that you can nominate people on. There's bias, there's blatant lies, there's classical propaganda, there's shameless sycophantism. And it was all there so that we can get people more aware of the news that they read, so that they would actually see it. When they read it with a pinch of salt. They don't just read it as fact, as people would like it to be. Everything needs to be thought out twice. Anyone can basically nominate any news that they see or any journalist, and then it goes through a voting process on our website for who should win the award. And at the end of each year, we do an event, each year in a different city or in a different country, and we announce the awards in front of journalists and activists and all sorts of people, and in that we develop and build further our network of enemies. Thank you very much.
Anybody with a question? This is the danger of the last speaker. Dinner is coming shortly, but don't worry, there's still time. There's still time. Dinner's not till 8:30.
That's fine.
Is it? You have a long question? I see you have a.
I was having a beer while I was going on. I'm fine. Don't worry. I've got lots of energy. More than these guys are drinking water. So do you think that you came up with the best title for a talk for the whole program, and you just blew that shit out of the park?
And then Kebab said, a very good headline and a shitty content. The thing is that I fooled all of you. Thank you.
No comment on the title?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Sometimes.
anybody else? Question? Yeah.
Hello, Isam. Was it hard to deal with the Salafi group because I have some in my country as well, but you are far more close to an expert on the topic. So I would like to share your experience. How did you manage to make a conversation about satire, and especially if it considers Islam with Salafi?
I think it was all about like the diversity with the criticism. It's like we just go like full-heartedly against anything that we see wrong. So it's like, as I said, it's like while satire is seen as like a left thing, it's like a more liberal thing. It's like our the goes that we take at, for example, at rubbish atheists sort of is really, really hard. So basically, when they see that, they're like, okay, it's like you're not doing this just to be this sort of like a liberal left thing that's just trying to promote Soros, you know? Like, it's like, it's just like, that's what gives you credibility. It's like if you're going after everyone, and everyone's like, okay, maybe what you're doing isn't like, it gives less of a feeling of conspiracy against them, and then that allows them to contribute.
I have a question as well. And I hate to be the last one to ask the question. Everybody's gonna hate me, but oh well, we're not gonna see each other anytime soon. With the risk of repeating myself, I guess my question is the same as this morning for the writer from The Onion. I would like to know your thoughts on Charlie Hebdo and how they dealt with the boundaries of freedom of expression and cultural sensitivities. And also I'm curious if you have those, do you have any limits? Do you have any boundaries to what you publish in regards to Islam and in regards to the Prophet's image and, you know, all sorts of ethical dilemmas, I guess. Thank you.
No, that's a very good question. Thank you. But I think the way we deal with it, it's like it just needs to go after something. It needs to actually say something, and not just like it's like, oh, like fuck you. It becomes pointless. That if I'm trying to make an argument, if I'm trying to make a point, we will make a point. But normally, it's like going after people's beliefs isn't really constructive. It's like to each their own. Like that's how we look at religions in general. So I think that's our line. So it's like with Charlie Hebdo, I feel it's like a lot of the stuff is just like it's pointless. It's like it's sometimes it's just in bad taste, and yeah, we don't do that kind of. I mean, there are stuff that completely makes sense, and I see a lot of their perspective on things, but also with them it's like, oh, can't you see that this is satire, and they see something like that. It's like if the majority of people don't think it is, and they see it as just plain offensive, you should like really rethink what you're doing.
Well, isn't that a dangerous argument? I mean, in terms that would be applied to you as well.
Yeah, and it's like, as long as there's like a decent amount of like say, awareness of how your content is perceived. So our editorial team is the first audience, and we judge it based on that, and we try to judge it from an outsider's perspective. We can't, it's not foolproof, and we fuck up and we apologize as someone else said. Also, it's like that this is like standard thing, but like that it's about what we're aiming for, and we take that very much into account when we're doing our work.
And do you have that? Your publication?
Do you have what, sorry?
These dilemmas of what to publish or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, but we just need to make sure that what we're publishing is actually worth saying and is not going to be mostly interpreted by people. Some people will always misinterpret, you can't stop that, but you just don't want to say if 90% of people are misinterpreting, then it's actually your group of theirs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.